Hi everyone, Big Pauly back for a brand new video. It's time to take a look at what I've watched in the last week and a bit. 6 titles, I believe. Only 2 of them I have physical. The other 4 were either streaming or at the cinema. But yeah, let's take a look. Okay, so the first one I watched is a film called The Ledge. Yes, it says cliffhanger meets revenge. A bit. This is about 2 women that decide to go and do some climbing on a rock face, and they meet up with a group of guys there, and everything is going swimmingly. You know, they're all getting to know each other, but one of them is a total bastard, and before you know it, one of the women gets killed, and then it's just the men are going after this woman and trying to kill her off as well to cover up their actions. It's gripping in some places. The acting is not bad. The acting from the lead bloke who plays the lead villain is actually quite good. He was quite convincing. So it's not like the usual horrible D movie crap acting that, you know, you wonder how on earth did they ever employ them as an actor. The acting was believable. You never really get a sense of height, though, unfortunately. You know, they show various clips of them climbing up the mountain, different locations. They do pan back and show the distance, but you never really get that impact of how high they are, unlike when Stallone was hanging off that wire in Cliffhanger. So you're never really that fearful of the height. But yeah, it wasn't a bad film. You know, this was one of the like cheap £7.99s. It was one of the better ones I've seen. And if you like climbing up mountains, trying to escape, and the brutality of it, because there is a little bit of brutality in it as well, then give it a go. I mean, personally, I'd probably wait until it's like £5 or £3. But yeah, I actually enjoyed it. I did enjoy it. I did give it 5.5 out of 10. So not the usual 1.5 to 2. It's actually an enjoyable film. So that was The Ledge. Next, I watched Turning Red. I'll put a picture up here, but you've probably all seen it. This is the latest Disney Pixar film. Unfortunately, it didn't go to the cinema. I think it would have looked fantastic at the cinema. This is the story about a little girl who's got a curse that when she gets emotional, she turns into this big red panda. There is a lot of references in the film of puberty and that time of the month. Which is not something I ever thought I'd hear in a Pixar film. The last couple of Pixar films have really started to delve into a lot of darker and adult themes. I mean, Soul was about death and the afterlife. You can't get any more darker than that. And this one's about periods. Holy shit. What are you doing, Pixar? What happened to the fluffy little teddy bears and the toys? I suppose they've got to branch out so that they don't end up repeating themselves. But yeah, this was good. Also, this was all about girls' emotions and liking boy bands and wanting to go to a boy band and mushy feelings about boys. So, you know, the girls are becoming of age, and it's just one big horny animated movie. But it was beautiful to look at. It was fun. It was very funny. Her friends were hilarious, brilliant characters. The parents were good as well, and I just had an all-round great time with it. I thought it was really good. It was heartwarming, but it was a fun, energetic Pixar movie. So yeah, I really enjoyed Turning Red. I gave that 7.5 out of 10. Yes. Next up, we have Daylight. Yes, not Daylight Robbery, but Daylight, starring Sylvester Stallone. This is a recent Turbine release that they've brought out in Germany. I also picked up Twister, which I will review. This blew the shit out of me. Yes, I mean, I've loved this film since the 90s. And I did have it on Blu-ray. I just got rid of that. As soon as I watched this, that Blu-ray became irrelevant. That other Blu-ray, the UK version. What they've done to this, the picture quality on this is absolutely incredible. It's like it was filmed now, and it's verging on 4K quality. Seriously, I've never seen it look this good before. It's unbelievable. And the Atmos soundtrack is sodding kicking. With that subwoofer, when that tunnel exploded, holy shit. If you haven't got anything strapped down on the walls, then you're in trouble. What have you got strapped on the walls? You know, your bookcases and shit like that. But yeah, this has a fantastic soundtrack. There's lots of bass. And the one thing that I was worrying with this film, with an Atmos soundtrack, is because it's so loud and there's so much loudness going on through the film, are we going to get the usual droning out the dialogue, which happens a lot of times? But I can safely say that whatever they've done, they've enhanced the audio for the dialogue. And even when you've got the loudest of sounds and bangs on the screen, you can hear every word of the dialogue over the top. So this was a very welcome release, and they've put their heart and soul into it, and they've done a proper re-release of this with a new HD scan, as I say, with a Dolby Atmos soundtrack. This is the ultimate edition. So forget any other edition of Daylight that is out there. You have to own this, as well as the Twister. I haven't tested Twister yet, but if Twister is anything like this, then oh my god, I just wish Germany would release every movie again in this quality. But this is fantastic, well worth £23-25. And if you do own a copy of Daylight already on Blu-ray, throw it in the bin or give it to a charity shop and buy that. 9 out of 10. Fantastic. So that was Daylight. The next one I watched was on Sky, which I believe is a Sky Movies production, Blacklight, with Liam Neeson. This is the usual Liam Neeson stuff, you know. Didn't he say at one point he was going to stop doing action films? I think Liam Neeson is going the way of Bruce Willis now. You know, he'll film anything for a pay packet. And this had some good moments. It's about like the government, the US government, the FBI that were taking out civilians. Aidan Quinn was in it, who was Liam Neeson's boss. And Liam Neeson was kind of like a rogue. He's not exactly FBI, but kind of a rogue agent who would go out and do jobs for Aidan Quinn, the boss, the FBI bloke. And he wanted to retire, you know, Liam Neeson wanted to retire, get away from it and spend some time with his family, but he wouldn't really let him go. And yeah, it's, at times it was okay. It was moderately entertaining, but it's no Taken. It's definitely no Taken. And it just becomes the same repetitive Liam Neeson action film over and over again. So it's kind of like the same thing, but they just change the concept of the film slightly. So, yeah, I mean, it was worth a watch because it was free and it was on Sky, but is it something that I would buy on physical? Probably not. Probably not. It'd probably be a one-time watch. Yeah, that was Blacklight. That's on Sky. I gave that 4.5 out of 10. Next up, we have a cinema trip. Yes, the latest Michael Bay film, Ambulance. When you go to see a Michael Bay film, you don't expect intelligence, you don't expect subtle, quiet dialogue moments. You expect the screen to explode and your ears to hurt after the film. And this is what you get. This is about two bank robbers, Jake Gyllenhaal, and I can't remember the other guy's name, but he was Morpheus Jr., Morpheus 2.0 in The Matrix Resurrections. And they steal an ambulance after a bank robbery goes wrong. They have an injured cop on board, and they also have a paramedic. And it's all about them just driving the ambulance, avoiding roadblocks, cars blowing up, helicopters shooting at them. It's just Michael Bay mayhem. Everything's blowing up. It was a good action film. You know, if you take into consideration what you're watching, don't expect there to be any kind of intelligent storytelling, because it's just Michael Bay blowing shit up for 2 and a bit hours. So that's what you get. Performances were good. Jake Gyllenhaal's performance was good. Action was good. Car chases were good. There is a bank shootout after the actual robbery goes wrong that makes the shootout in the heat look like a day at play school. So that's really going to do your audio system justice. So if you're going to buy it, you're going to buy it for everything blowing up, the shootouts and the explosions. But it was fun if you just want to go in and watch a mindless action Michael Bay blow the shit up type of film. Yeah, I gave that 7 out of 10. I did have fun with it. The last film I saw was a film I saw with Lulu and Claire at the caravan the other day. We were trying to find something to watch, and we watched this on Netflix. It's called The Kitchen. It's not about cooking or any shit like that. It stars Melissa McCarthy, Elizabeth Moss. I can't remember the other woman. I always forget someone's name. And this is set in Hell's Kitchen, you know, in New York. And it's set in the late 70s, and it's all about protection rackets, you know, protection where these people protect people's shops from getting robbed. You know, they pay them a certain amount a month each month, you know, a certain amount of money each month to keep protection and to stop them from being robbed and smashed over and that kind of stuff. Now, these three women's husbands are a bit of a mixture. One of them is okay. Melissa McCarthy's husband is kind of a nice guy. Elizabeth Moss's husband is a bit of a bastard, so she'd like to see him dead. And they get nabbed by the police. They end up serving, I think, about 3 years or two or 3 years. So there's no income coming in from their husbands. So these three women decide to go and do the protection for themselves. And of course, it's laughable at the start. You know, it's your husband's job. You know, you're supposed to sit at home doing the cooking. How times have changed. Yes, but they decide to get up and, you know, if their husbands can do it, why can't they do it? And they do get some respect in the end. They cross some paths with some nasty people, and they become more violent. These women become more violent and self-protective as times go by, and then eventually their husbands do get released, which causes another whole load of trouble. So yeah, it's not a bad film. It wasn't a bad film. We both enjoyed it. Well, me, Lulu and Claire enjoyed it. Performances were good. Elizabeth Moss was really good. Melissa McCarthy was good. Now, a lot of people don't like Melissa McCarthy. I always enjoy Melissa McCarthy in the comedies. So I enjoy her in Mike and Molly. That's where I first saw her. I thought she was great. Not so sure about Ghostbusters. I didn't really like her in Ghostbusters. The Heat with Sandra Bullock. She was born to play that role. She was pants pissing hilarious in that role together with Sandra Bullock. The Spy, she was great in The Spy as well, but sometimes she can be really surprising doing serious stuff. What was it? You Were Never Really Here or something. I can't remember the. Oh, bloody hell! The one where she was a writer and she was forging people's signatures, with Richard E. Grant. Yeah, well, I can't remember what it was called, but she was really good in that, and she was serious in this as well. And I thought she did a really good performance in this one. Yeah, I gave The Kitchen 6.5 out of 10. So they are the films that I've watched in the last a week to 10 days, I believe that is. So just 6 films. So a bit of a mixture there. More streaming than anything, which is not usually something I really like to do. But because, you know, things like Turning Red and Blacklight is not really available on physical anyway. But I've got some new stuff to watch, so we'll have to see how I get on in the next week. But I hope you enjoyed the video. I don't know if you agree with any of my choices or if any of my numbers, my ratings. Stick down in the comments if you liked any of those films or if you didn't like any of those films. And until the next video, bye!